Okay, so we'll head right into our agenda. Let's see, so our program tonight is really the community organization has been involved in working on a draft neighborhood plan for the last 5.5 years with the River Road Community Organization. We've had all different varieties of public outreach over the last 5.5 years, and the results of that public outreach, the last part of our community outreach, were published on the website, and they had that forum at North Eugene High, the May meeting here for SCCO, the June meeting for River Road Community Organization, and all kinds of online surveys and virtual outreach sessions too. And the board of the Santa Clara Community Organization met on June 27th to discuss and deliberate. And it was open for public comment and viewing by the public, but no public happened to show up for commenting. So we continued with our deliberations and made a recommendation to go ahead and move the plan forward with a few edits, and also including staff recommended edits from that process. And so we're reporting back to you that that's what we did. And happy to hear any comments about that if people have any feedback. Okay, done and done. Brilliant. So that's going to be forwarded to the Citizen Advisory Committee of the Neighborhood Planning process. And they put it through their sausage grinding machine, and then make a recommendation to the planning commissions of both the city of Eugene and Lane County. And then they take that and do whatever they do with it, and then they recommend something on to their elected officials. So we don't actually have control over what the finished product is, because it can get amended at each of those steps along the way. But we do hope that they take the amount of work and deliberation that went into creating this over the last long period seriously, and do as little tinkering as they see necessary. Okay, so at this moment, I'd also happily entertain a motion to approve the June meeting minutes. Is there a second? Sherry Moore seconds, and this is a general meeting, so anybody who has interest in voting is welcome to vote, who's been here in the last 12 months and signed in. So I know that you have, Jim, and I know that you have, and you folks have been in the last 12 months. So everybody's eligible to vote who's here. So if are there any suggested edits or changes? Anybody? Hearing none, we'll move to vote to accept the June meeting minutes as written. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, done. So on to announcements. So unless there's something under old business. No, there is one new business item, so we could start with that actually. So Terry, why don't you go ahead and
So an update first, right?
sure.
We are Santa Clara Community Organization is hosting a community event. It's a concert at Awbrey Park, and it is scheduled right now for August 6th from 1 to 4:30 p.m. And we have reserved the park through the city and have access to power. And there will be 3 bands playing along with a singer-songwriter. And we're inviting community members to bring a picnic or patron a couple of food trucks that will be there, Kona Ice from Eugene and Renee's Fries, and just come and meet neighbors and mingle and listen to live music. And it's going to be a great event. We're still looking for some day of volunteers and help with parking. So if you're interested, please reach out to the Santa Clara Community Organization. And I'd love to hear from you. And then I have a motion, but I don't know if it's time for that, Kate. But actually, any questions? I never open it up for questions. Any questions about what we might be doing on August 6th?
Give the time of day.
Yeah, 1 to 4:30 p.m. Yep, bring a blanket or lawn chairs, preferably walk or bike because parking at Awbrey Park is very, very limited and we will be blocking it off for the bands and their equipment and the sound technician and the 2 trucks.
Oh, so you're gonna close that parking lot?
We are gonna close the parking lot
Like
like the
after
wildflower
years of
festival.
wildflower,
Yes.
it's like, do you need any?
Yeah,
suggestions?
Yeah, so we'll definitely hoping that neighborhood, neighbors will walk or bike and come on over and just join us for an afternoon of fun. And hopefully it won't be too warm, but we will have Kona ice of North Eugene. And the first 100 shaved ice treats are complimentary. They've been paid for. So yeah.
What type of music?
So the first band, Sky Lounge, is kind of loungy tunes, and the nostalgic. Jerry, I'll have you comment on this style of music.
This nostalgic is what it sounds like. Music from the 1960s to the 1980s.
60s through the 80s. Yeah, and then there's some groovy tunes from Emma Mullen and Friends. And my sister is a singer-songwriter, and she'll be here, and she does some contemporary stuff, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Right.
And there'll be games for kids.
Games for kids and a few tables too. So if there are other people that want to host a table and get some information out for community members, that would be great as well. And Ed Cashin, who was working the country fair this weekend, will be our sound technician. And so, yeah, it's coming together.
Helpful.
What?
That'll be
It
helpful.
will be helpful, yeah. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Are
So,
the bands gonna be in the parking lot?
right now, the site plan has the bands, those are 2 play structures. And we talked about the limitations of that because we're really limited based on the use of power. The power is actually over by the bathrooms. And so we're kind of limited how far away we have to have the music from the power source. But Kate has graciously offered to kind of provide a level for the acoustic drum set that will be there because that needs to be a level. So we're going to use some of the concrete, but also allow for access for people to get around, accessibility issues and that sort of thing. So it will be, the music will be, the back of the band will be facing River Road. So the back of the band will be River Road, singing and playing into the park. Yeah.
Nice.
And then games for kids will be on the back side.
That's
So
so exciting for me, you know, and all of us have worked on that park for 15 years.
it's a beautiful little park. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
I love
with
it how it's being used.
August, how much shade there will be. I mean, it is normally shady, so we're
So
hoping
easy, so
yes,
So is that a Saturday?
it's a Sunday
Sunday.
from 1 to 4:30. Yeah, so also help with neighbors, getting the word out for neighbors, just so that nobody's caught off guard. We do have some, an estimate for printing costs, which I kind of got back today, which is steeper than I thought, but it's not a deal breaker. So we'll just need to decide whether we go that route and where we put some of the postings for the event itself. So
How many posters are you thinking you want?
a total of 30, and Gary Haliski had recommended like 10 laminated and I think 20 non-laminated. So trying to find,
So if you want to put any at Dairy Mart, you need to take the flyers and the address of the 2 on River Road or you know, whatever ones you want.
yeah,
Out to Junction City to the headquarters.
you have to go to headquarters.
You do, and you have to talk to Pat. Or you don't have to talk to her, you could just take them to the headquarters, which is across from Weimar out there.
Okay,
And leave them for Pat to approve. Then she takes the flyers through their mail thing to the 2 Dairy Marts. You have to actually have the 2. If you want the 2 on River Road.
that would be really helpful.
You have to do that about a month in advance, so you should be doing that this week.
We have them printed, which, yeah, I had to call and say, were you gonna get me that estimate? And they said,
Well, she's done really nice things for us in the past.
okay,
With less than a month,
okay.
but she prefers a month.
Okay, well, we'll also see about other businesses and farm stands and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, any suggestions would be great as to where to post those.
Yeah, we usually do the filling station, Berry Mart, and,
I think we did that, but it would be nice things to do something local up there.
Well, Awbrey Park has a kiosk.
yeah, we could
Yes.
put it in
Lone
the-
Oak Park has a kiosk. I don't know that any other parks have a kiosk, but we could put them on a stake in other parks if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess that brings me to the motion.
Yep.
So, because of the cost of the event, it's not over the top, but it, it takes some funds to do a community gathering like this. So I'm asking the board to consider voting on a motion to approve neighborhood association funds for this event this year, earmarking those funds for the event.
So we are allotted $400 for one event per fiscal year. So this would be the event from July 1st, 2023 to July 1st, 2024. And we would, the motion is to allot all $400 to that event. Just FYI.
And the point of information, I don't think we've ever used them before, so.
Well, I think we've used some of them for Awbrey Park, for the Wildflower Festival. Yeah, so we checked with Gary and he said, well, ours is pretty low budget and we can do without if we need to, so.
I think, I don't know if we submitted any for this year's. I don't know that we generally do submit.
I don't know.
I think we kind of self-fund it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And if you would like to know an estimated cost for the event, I'm happy to provide that. I don't know how much information you want me to
Is
give.
it under $400?
It is not.
Okay. So is the $400 the?
It would be an offset. It would be an offset.
And does the city help other than using the park? They should have some funds for this.
Well,
Well-
it is the city fund. It's.
This is how-
This is from our city and county outreach money. It'll be 200 from each. And then if we wanted to make this an annual event, the city stopped doing their own programming of concerts and movies in the park, but started a grant program. So if we wanted to do this, we would need to start now to put in a grant proposal to get one next year if we wanted to get the whole thing offset. So this would be a good test run for us and we'd know what it really does cost, even though we won't have all those funds from our outreach budget to cover it. So.
Yeah.
There are some funds in our bank account.
Just excess funds.
There's about $200 and some dollars in our bank.
And that's not our postal printing fund. Uh-huh. How's that? Woo, you're taking around.
Well,
Question, so with this, the funding with this, we have the access to it, you don't have any issues with that?
The $400.
Yeah, or do we just ask the city to reimburse?
The city will work directly with Terry and either she'll collect receipts and get reimbursed, or for certain things she can get pre-approved and they'll bill the city with an invoice from whoever the vendor is. It's kind of Terry's mess to unwind.
yeah,
Is how that works.
And this grant, honey, the next, did they tell you that the next time is the fall? They're going to, they did it this year for the first time, and they started in winter. And so there's going to be an annual thing, but they're going to open it up in the fall. That for 2024. So we have to get in, if we're going to do something like this again, we need to get from your experience, all the ducks in a row.
Yeah.
In the fall.
depending on if it's something the community enjoys, I have enjoyed the process. We're 4 weeks out approximately. It's been great. People have been wonderful. And so, yeah, it would be great to do this again, but it would just be knowing that it's beyond any grant that would be given. But it's a fun thing to invest in.
But this grant money that they're proposing is a matching grant, but they also include volunteer hours. As
Okay.
part of that, they have a set hourly rate they consider So that can also be part of.
So they would need that information before the fall.
If-
To,
I think it's in October is the due date of the
Okay.
grant
Yeah,
application.
but
So,
have in mind as you go through this, that's what.
maybe we put that
on
on
a
the
future agenda.
agenda, yeah, that would be great.
Sorry. I have another question. How many people do you expect?
That's a really good question, Darcy. You know, we wanted to make it available for anybody and not cost prohibitive. However, I'm hopeful that the food trucks who have invested their time and their resources in the afternoon will have some patronage there, and we'll just see. So it could be, you know, 50 people. I mean, we have 13 people, 13 musicians. So if it's just the musicians,
We have 300 to 500 at the wild park.
okay.
And it was in the newsletter that got mailed to every address. So if people took
Yeah.
note, and it's on the website.
Yeah.
Do you want to do another postcard? And closer to it?
Well, let's see.
I think it's just a postcard in the summer when people aren't, you know, looking for stuff. It's kind of,
It's not gonna happen.
I think it's a small change.
And we're talking, this is already July 6th,
Yeah.
Right.
August 6th.
Yeah.
I think putting flyers at the parks and the kiosks and
Yeah,
getting them into the businesses.
Yeah.
You can get any. Maybe at Emerald Park, you could put a flyer up because they do the concert in the park on July 30th this year. It's that long orchestra.
oh, perfect. We'll get lots of exposure.
So when you put something up, those are the types of people that will come and support these things.
Okay, with that, asking neighbors, I mean, I definitely don't want to catch Awbrey Park neighbors off guard. Obviously, there will be postings, but we want to make sure that they're not going, what is going on in our park? And why is it? I don't think it's going to be very loud. There's not enough electricity over there to make it real loud. I think it's just going to be a really nice event.
It'll be nice.
So-
That's in the daytime.
Right,
And maybe talk to this, the school over there to use their parking lot behind.
It's been
That
done
way,
that.
that way there's no issues and you can let people know and they don't go, hey, you can't do that in the middle of it or something.
I don't know if I would reach out to 4J because most schools are closed until August. That would be the only thing.
We tried that one time, it's easier to ask forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
You know,
So what do you suggest, Jerry?
I would
leave it alone.
I would suggest that if people are looking for a place to park, and say, well, you can park over there, and
And ask St. Max, because the two of them.
But don't put the big signs that say park here.
So that's a really great point too. Laney Archer, the pastor at St. Matt's, also is putting it in their bulletin so that they'll have it.
That's this on Sunday, though, right?
Yeah.
It is on a Sunday, but it's after church. Yeah, it was, I was thinking about that because I go to church, but I won't be going to church. Because we have the park for so long. And Lou, did you have a question?
In terms of like advertising, Facebook event helps out, and like, I can see like what's going on around me this weekend, like.
And Gary Holiski, I believe, is helping us with that. He's gotten he's posted it on the website, and I think he might be adding it to a Facebook page. I'll check.
We should just all pay attention that Gary Holiski is retiring
Yes.
from being our poster. July is his last month, and we're looking for somebody to step up to post the blogs on the web page and to do the social media outreach. That is not my strong suit. I will not be volunteering for that. But if somebody wants to, and you don't have to be a board member, you can be anybody who likes to use their social media.
Any other?
Well, we'll table that. We have a motion on the table to
Yes.
use our $400 annual event outreach budget for the concert in the park on August 6th, and I'm looking for a second. Catherine. So anybody with any other concerns about it?
Maybe the church here, hang a flyer.
Maybe so.
So let's go ahead and call the question. All in favor of using our outreach budget event money for the fiscal year? Signify by saying aye. Anybody opposed? Done and done. Good. So Tim Felker. July 22nd.
is quickly approaching. So hopefully most people have heard about it by now. Jerry sent it out with the announcement. We put some posters up, made some postings on the websites. And we are looking for folks to come and enjoy some food, enjoy some drink, possibly bid on some items for the silent auction. We'll have some door prizes. And I would encourage anyone who runs a business or has a friend who runs a business, especially locally, who would like to get some exposure, encourage them to contact us to put a item in the silent auction or to do some door prizes, some smaller value stuff. And I've been gathering donations from donations of items, and we got some discounts on food. We'll probably have a couple of Cafe Yum trays of their Yum dishes, and Deneen will make some salads. We'll have some other foods there. So we're providing everything. And Christine at the filling station down River Road is offering a keg of beer and a keg of cider. So we will probably have tickets, beer tickets, basically, that you can purchase at the door or as time goes on. We'll have some music. I'm going to try to have like 5 hour-long showcases of singer-songwriters, some jazz musicians, some blues. We have a sound system and a sound guy. So we are ratcheting up and trying to get this thing to fly. And so we really would love to have you all come out and just show support. If you're not, if you can't really donate or purchase an item, you can help us spread the word so that we can get people who are aware of the projects we're working on. And if anyone in the room isn't aware of some of the projects we're working on, can anyone in the room raise their hand if they haven't heard of the Santa Clara Community Foundation? Good, it's almost everybody. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and we've got some stuff going, and the Schoolhouse is the main push for this fundraiser to generate some funds for that, so that we can move things along with the city to show that we're willing to do our part to make this happen out of our pockets. And so please come, please spread the word. If you got the email that has the little flyer on it, spread that to your contacts, and any business folks who you think can use a little exposure can come and or donate, and they can come certainly and talk about their products, talk about their companies. It could be services, it could be items, anything's fair game. And contact me if you have any questions. And we'll need to kind of know before the 21st probably that stuff is coming, because we'll put together a list and flyers that show all the auction items and who's donated what. And so people can get their faces and names known that they've donated to the foundation.
And RSVP, so we know how much food to have.
Yeah,
please.
Yeah, if you can RSVP, that'd be great. This is Deneen. She's in charge of the whole affair.
Only the food.
And she, yeah. So we're well organized, and I think it'll be a fun event. So please come.
Tell all your friends who need to shop or have a little retail therapy, bring them all. We need them.
Hopefully there's a donation bucket.
Yeah.
Just add money to it as well.
Yeah, so I was about that. I think we will certainly take donations at the door if people choose, or during the event. And also I'll probably put together a pledge sheet so that people don't have to come with money in hand. they can do a pledge and we will send them an invoice after the fact, and they can pay up then. So we're happy for anything anybody can contribute, even if it's a volunteer time would be great. So we may need some traffic direction for parking on the street if people are driving. We will typically can have a bike valet. We did at our last party, and somebody could kind of oversee that. So if you have interest, come on by and enjoy the party.
Thanks, Sam.
Any other questions? Anybody?
Okay,
Okay, thanks.
thanks, Tim.
Yeah.
Games in the Park. There are 2 game nights this summer for Games in the Parks. July 11th at Wendover Park, 5 to 7, and July 18th at Arrowhead Park, 5 to 7 also. And there will be Cosmic Bliss has donated a case of ice cream bars for each again. So there will be some little treat there and some water and cups and lots of games.
What was the second day?
18th, just 2 Tuesdays in a row. Arrowhead's the 18th, yep. So report from the NLC. Patrick.
Let's see, I don't have a report except for in July, we meet at the last week of this month. I will be the co-chair of that, and the next one is what?
So maybe I think the NLC has been involved in trying to advocate for retaining, so the city of Eugene had a $15 million budget shortfall for fiscal year 2023 to 24. And they adopted a budget that reduces neighborhood outreach funding by 30%, I think. So our county funding is also reduced by that same amount. And although we advocated, and many neighborhoods advocated for retaining our funding and the value that they get for the money they spend, they chose to spend their money elsewhere. So we will be tightening our belts a little bit and trying to do as much as we can with whatever we have. Just FYI. But I think that's been sort of an ongoing issue that NLC's been working on. Social Justice Committee.
There's only one good.
Wow. So I can update you and tell you that Gary Holiski, our fearless leader, is retiring. And so Don will be taking his place, Don Leslie, and we are, continually working on educational topics. We have a little bit of time each SCCO meeting to present what we're learning and where we're investing time and resources and energy for social justice, and it's exciting. So if people want more information, we have the social justice page. You can go to the website, the SCCO website, and find out more. We are putting a message in the bulletin also at St. Matt's so that people know if they're interested in getting in touch with us or being on the bias response team, that's available to them as well. So.
Do you want to give a quick blurb what the bias response team is and does?
The bias response team only activates when there is an event associated with bias, and basically people come together and they provide support and resources and encouragement, and so it's just activated when there's an event. So there have been issues with vandalism at homes and issues with North Eugene High School, and we've the bias response team has actually stepped up and even made cookies for the Black Student Union and other affiliated groups in North Eugene. So it's something simple, but it's a way to make a difference if you're interested.
Excellent, thanks. And are there upcoming upstander, bystander, or belonging trainings that you know of?
Not that I know of. I know that I think Judy was the one that was actually in charge of that, and there was some time off taken, so I haven't gotten an update on that.
Okay.
But hopefully more will go on. this fall.
Great. Any questions for Terry? All right.
Back to you.
Community garden, Peter's not here. Does anybody else want to step up for that or? No, okay. So there is a Santa Clara Community Garden. It's behind St. Matt's. It's not organized or run by the city of Eugene. It's done through Santa Clara Community Organization. So if you need to rent a community garden plot, our guy is Peter Thurston, and we can hook you up with him if you want. Or you can always just go visit and have a look because it's quite a beautiful spot. The foundation, we already heard from Tim. Do you have anything else about the foundation, or was that enough foundation, Tim?
Well, I don't. I did want to add, though, that I did have some posters printed and sent them out to several of you. If you still have any left over, let me know. We'll go get them posted somewhere. I posted all of mine around the neighborhood at various businesses. So, but the foundation meets on the third Monday. The board meets on the third Monday, and everyone's welcome to come and listen. And we are always in need of new board members. We have the minimum 5, and thanks everybody in the room who is a board member. We can have up to 15, and we would love more input. We would love some of your life experiences to come and shed them on us because we have lots of ideas going into the future besides just the schoolhouse. We are stewarding Howell and Landing County Park. We are assisting with the Irving Grange mural project. So negotiating with them so that they can earmark funds that are donated to the foundation for that mural project. And so that has to be approved by the board, but I don't think it's going to be an issue. So folks who want to donate to that mural project can have a tax advantage through the foundation, and we'll, partner with them to earmark those funds for that, because it's certainly a community benefit that falls into our mission. And I think that's about it. Do you have any last updates about the schoolhouse contract?
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear from Steve Schmidt about insurance for us. That continually seems to be our hang up, that he thinks he's got something and then it falls by the wayside. The most recent one, he was sure he had an estimate for us, and then when they found that they asked how long would the renovation take, and we said, well, in our contract we'll have it done within 3 years for certain. They said, well, if it's longer than a year, we can't insure that. So that's a little problematic, but I did have a meeting with the city, and Carolyn and I hashed out a bunch of details, and they're ready. She's taking our contract back to their legal team and hopes to have us worked it out and signed it as soon as possible. I told her we're hoping Bob Stedman, our contractor, is our overseer, is hoping that we can use the rest of the dry weather to secure the exterior. So we would be re-roofing and scraping and painting the exterior first while weather's good, and then hopefully work on the interior in the winter. All the stars align and we get our contract signed and we find insurance. And I'm starting to reach out to roofing companies and paint companies looking for donations of the materials we need to do the work. So if you have any specific contacts in those worlds that you think would be open to a little arm twisting. I'm also looking for a local specialty lumber miller who would mill some of our lumber into wainscoting and flooring for us, because we have all the lumber we could use for that. We just need somebody to put it into a form that makes it useful. So those are some things I'm working on right away. And that's the update on that. So it's ramping up, and I promise I won't lose any sleep over it.
Hey, can we get the insurance for 1 year and then somebody
Well,
else with the other?
Yeah, that was my hope when he said, well, that fell through. I need to call him back and ask him how comfortable he is saying, I said, well, we could say we're aiming to have it done in a year, and then, oh golly, we didn't get it done. That, I think projects often go much longer than people expect they will. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's disingenuous, but maybe we shouldn't report this. I don't know.
The jury's done.
So
I was more saying, can we just get a different insurance company each year?
Oh.
I wasn't
Hmm.
suggesting otherwise, I'm saying
Uh-huh.
maybe we could take that one for 1 year.
I
And
appreciate
then
that.
the next year get a different one,
Mm,
so if we're stuck, that might be,
that would be great. if
that would
there were-
be more morally
Mhm.
up and up.
Thank you. Okay, I will call and ask him that question specifically. Okay, so let's see, land use. 2615 Lone Oak Way, zone verification. It's zoned for R2 with the site review overlay. They're checking to make sure that that is indeed their zoning, so my guess is there will be some R2 development there. There's a final plat partition for 4199 Scenic Drive. That's right where Spring Creek dead ends into Scenic Drive, where there was a barn and a very old house, and they demolished the barn, and that lot is going to be divided into 3. 594 River Loop 1 has an annexation request in. That's 3.37 acres. So that's a piece of property just south of Lone Oak Park, but it has very little street frontage, and then it backs up to where you used to live. Backs up to those on Grizzly Edition there, that big part back there. So my guess is that's going to be subdivided and developed at some point, because there would be no reason to annex it otherwise. And the River Road, the road itself and its right of way from Wedgewood up to Beacon Drive and Irvington Drive from River Road to 300 feet west. The actual road and road right of way have been annexed to the city so that they can manage and take care of it. That's all the land use updates. Any other updates?
Can I ask a question for clarification? We had some neighbors asking about the fireworks stand that was here and then wasn't. And just if it was a city, if it needed to move outside the city because there was a fireworks ban.
I really have no idea about that.
Yeah, I have that same wonder.
Yeah. It looks like the sign says they moved to different locations, Springfield and JC and.
Benita.
Yeah.
But there's still one up where we're at.
Was there?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go down that one, maybe somewhere.
Find the bakery.
Yeah, is there, okay.
It might be
You can
a
sell
personal,
it.
it
There's
could be a
not-
personal choice as well, because I know a lot of people move in from Eugene, the city to Springfield to do their fireworks. So maybe they were having the sales met here and they said.
Oh, okay.
Pick up. and-
Okay, we had neighbors ask and I said, I'll ask at the meeting. I appreciate that.
I don't think there's a ban on sales. There's
Yeah.
a ban on firing them off.
Okay.
Might have been a personal
So.
choice.
Tell you this, but you're not gonna let it out here, right?
Uh-huh.
There was plenty going on.
Yeah.
The way the news reported it on TV, it was on sales also.
Oh,
Okay.
Well, the news.
Yeah, so I don't know, yeah,
uh-huh.
they got things wrong.
Okay.
I heard different things, it's like you could use sparklers and stuff on everything.
Yeah, the lane ones were still legit, you could buy and set them off,
Okay.
but the most of them were not able to be sold, that's what I heard.
Wonder if there was enough discrepancy that they went, I'm not gonna stop here. We don't know. Okay. That's good to know. Thank you.
All right. So that is the entirety of our agenda. Are there specific items that people want to see for upcoming programs? I'm happy to always take input on that. And otherwise,
Real quick, we need to add, the bylaws or whatnot onto it at some point in time, to make that an item.
sure.
It shouldn't take too long.
I think you have almost all.
It's really just minor words changes basically, and so it's probably stick into the next meeting and we set times plan for it.
Yeah, or if we need to fill it, there you go.
Okay. Bylaws, got it. And grant application. So
And-
far.
Kate, I'm thinking that the Thursday, the first Thursday of August will be before the event. So it would probably be a September
Uh-huh,
grant discussion,
okay.
which is kind of pushing it. But maybe we should be working on it ahead of time.
But then you'd know your needs.
Yeah,
And what went right.
yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody, for giving of your time and energy, and please go out and spread the word and get people to the events, the fountain in the park, the garden party benefit for the foundation and the game nights. And thanks so much.
And this extra, this letter, everybody wants to add some extras and just show them.
Yeah.
You need to move a motion for.
Well, do you mean to affirm the board position? Do you want to do that? So Jerry Finnegan moves that the general membership affirm the board position to recommend the neighborhood plan on to the next phase of adoption. Is there a second for that motion? Patrick. Discussion, anybody?
Clarify, with that motion is to bring forth the motion that with all of the recommendations of the staff and the things that we had put on there, correct?
Including all of our edits, yes.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, so call the question, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Anything else, people?
Are we going to be getting a request from the city for all the volunteer hours coming up soon?
I think, yes, that's a good reminder. So they do a neighborhood by neighborhood report out at the end of the year. So everybody's hours from July 1st, 2022 to July 1st, 2023 need to be given to Jerry Finnegan. And that's not just a board, that's anybody who's doing volunteer work for the community organization in the neighborhood. And that's a really great way for us to help the city understand the value they get for the outreach funds they give us. That the tens of thousands of hours of each of the 20 odd neighborhood associations put in is an incredible value. So please give him your hours as soon as possible.
Thank you, Jerry, for organizing.
Yeah,
Proceed on
and if people do it once or 1 month or 2 months at a time, it's a whole lot easier than you know. I sit there on the computer forever.
Oh, you don't want me to send them all like you're the time.
Okay, well, thanks, everybody, then. We're adjourned.
7:39.